Hello viewers, and welcome back to Phil's channel for what should be the last episode of this tank rebuild for my 1977 GS750. So I've gone through a lot of processes to get it to this point. At the end of the last video we put the clear coat on. So in this video we just have to fix a few runs in the clear coat, which shouldn't be a problem. Buff it up to a nice shine and get rid of a few little bits of trash in the clear coat. Then there's just the bits and pieces like the put the fuel tap on, make sure that works correctly, the little fuel flap and latch, and then eventually put it on the bike and see how it looks and operates. So let's get on with fixing those clear coat runs and getting this tank finished. Right, so I've had a good look around the tank after the clear, and generally I'm pretty happy with the results. On this side and the top, there's a few little specks here and there, but they will buff out. This side, down this end is okay, but the main problem is up around here where I've obviously sprayed a bit too much. So there's a few runs, one there, and down the bottom here. So I'm going to use, first of all, the razor blade method to scrape them down, and then probably start with something like 1200, work that way up through 2000 to 3000, and then buff the whole tank and see what it looks like in the end. So I've strapped the tank down so that it doesn't move while I'm doing this, and I've got my razor blade with the edges taped off. So let's start on this one, which is the worst one here. So I've started on this one up here, and as you can see, I'm just trying to take the top of the run off until we start getting down pretty flat, and then I'll move to wet and dry. Right, so using a combination of the razor blade scraping and also some 800 grit on a block, then 1200 grit, then 2000 grit, and then a 3000 grit pad. This is where we're at in this area. So quite flat. So I think we're at the point where we can start doing some buffing and hopefully get an even shine over the whole tank. So I've pretty well fixed up this area here with the runs. Then I tried a bit of buffing on the top there, but I wasn't really getting rid of the little specks. So what I have done is gone over the whole tank with 2000 grit, wet and dry, just focusing on the little divots. I think I've got rid of all of those. I'll just double check, and then I'll go over with 3000 and then go back to the buffing compound. So so far so good. Okay, so I've gone over the tank with my 180mm sander polisher with a bit of polishing compound, and it's come up pretty well, I think. No blemishes, and pretty shiny, I reckon. There's a couple of tiny little spots down here on the edge where I wore through the paint, so I'll just touch them up. But I think I'll touch them up, and then it's time to move on to the other bits and pieces like the petrol flap and the latch and the fuel tap, etc. So yeah, happy with that. So one of the last things I need to do is to clean up this petrol flap cover, this little clip that holds the lock underneath there, and the little latch assembly. So we'll stick these in the sandblaster, give them a blast, and then spray some paint on them. Now I'll probably keep the flap from my old tank because that's actually been powder coated, and then this one will go onto the old tank, and still haven't decided what I'll do with that, but I'll certainly be keeping that for a couple of months to make sure that this tank is okay.
Much later.
So here are those parts after sandblasting and painting. Put the latch in, as you can see. So these parts will be used on the existing tank on the bike, which is going to be coming off, basically because the existing tank, this flap here, has been powder coated, and the petrol cap I have is a brand new one I bought at the time, so nice and chrome. So these parts will go on the existing tank, and the good stuff will come across to the new tank. Right, so on to the interesting bits. We can put this fuel tap on, and then after that we'll put some fuel in it and see if it, A, if it leaks, and B, if it actually works correctly. So I've got the bonded washers on the bolts, so that stops the fuel coming down through the threads. So we'll stick this in, and then later we will put a reasonable amount of fuel in it and see what it does. So the liner that I've put in there is sort of covering those holes on the inside to a certain degree, so it's a little bit tight putting these screws in, but that's not really a problem. Probably better actually, it should seal up better. Okay, that's on now. So if this doesn't work correctly, I do actually have a kit for this fuel tap, so we can use that to fix any problems. And the one on the bike at the moment works, but the tap, the little handle here is really tight, so I virtually have to get a pair of pliers if I want to change it. So that can be, I've lubricated this, so this should be, this is fairly easy to move. So I would rather use this one if we can. So we'll put some fuel in it and see what happens. Right, so I have put a few litres of fuel into the tank, maybe half a dozen, I guess. And so far, there is no leaks underneath here. This is all bone dry, which is good. That means the tap to tank seal is working correctly. Now the other thing is that there is no fuel coming out of here, which is a good sign. If we put it on reserve, there's no fuel coming out. And if we put it on prime, fuel should come out, which it is. So that's good. So that means that part of the fuel tap is working correctly. Now we'll stick it around to reserve because I'm not quite sure whether there's enough fuel to go in the main fuel intake, but there should be, certainly the reserve should be working. So I've got this bit of hose temporarily connected to the vacuum connection at the back there. So if we suck on this, fuel should come out, which it does. And more importantly, when you remove the vacuum, it stops coming out. So that means that this fuel petcock is working correctly, which is great. And this lever is actually quite easy to move. So the one on the bike at the moment is really stiff. So, I mean, that can be fixed. But so I think I'll just leave this fuel tap on and we can move on to transferring a few more things from that tank to this tank. Cool. Now, one more thing which needs to go onto the tank, which I didn't even realise was missing because my tank on the bike at the moment doesn't have them, is some little rubber stoppers that go either side of here to stop the fuel flap sort of damaging this when you close it. So I went on to Partzilla and ordered some of these. So I'll go ahead and just super glue these on. They sort of go about here. I'll super glue these on. Try not to get any super glue on the tank. Yeah, that'll stop any damage from the fuel flap. Right, so they're glued into position now. I figured the best way to do it was actually put them in place and then lift up the various bits and put some super glue underneath, because the last thing you want is to drip super glue onto the outside of the tank. But they're there and should stay there, so that's good. So we'll move on to taking some bits off the old tank and moving on to the new tank. So the easiest thing to move is this fuel cap, which I bought new when I did the bike all those years ago. So this will come over to the new tank. Where is it? Then the flap and the latch and these Suzuki emblems will be moving over too. So these emblems are held on with a couple of little M3 screws. So I got these emblems new when I did the bike originally as well, so they're in better condition. I mean, the ones that came with the new tank are actually not too bad, but these are definitely in a better condition than those. So we're going to swap them over. So the left and right ones are slightly different shape, because the curve at the front here is a bit more than the curve at the back. Mind you, they're quite flexible, so you could bend them if you need to, but all right. Not tightening that up too much so we don't strip the little threads. Okay, looking good. So I'll do the other side. The next thing is the fuel flap itself, and that's held on by a couple of M5 screws. So they were little bolt heads originally, but I've changed these to some stainless steel M5 screws. And I also made a little paper gasket to go underneath to protect the tank. So this is a fairly easy swap over as well. There's a bit of adjustment in this flap, so you can get it sort of straight and whatever, and lining up with the latch in front. Yeah, it seems pretty straight, so we'll tighten that up for now. Yeah. And once we get the latch on, we can do some final adjustments. So I'll just tighten it up sort of finger tight for now. So really the last thing to do is the little latch, which I think I can get off that tank without removing it, and then actually swap the tanks over. Almost finished. Okay, so managed to get this latch off without removing the tank. with a right angle screwdriver. So I've tested these screws in the holes and they're not full of paint, which is good. Once again, I changed these little M5 bolts to these stainless steel screws when I did the original bike, so they can stay on. So I'll just, as I say, finger tight that, and then I'll fiddle around with the flap and the latch to adjust it. But at the moment, let's have a look. Yeah, it's latching, but it needs a bit of adjustment. So I'll do that and get back to you. Right, well, that's now adjusted nicely. It's nice and straight. It clicks onto the latch at the front here. So it clicks down nicely and locks in place and sits just down just above these little rubber stoppers. So all good. So the only thing left to do really is to take the tank off that bike, put this tank on, and then maybe start her up and go for a ride. So yeah, almost done. All right, so I've disconnected the two pipes to the petcock on this one. So it's just a matter of unscrewing this bolt at the back here. And then this tank will come off. Permanently, I think. We drained most of the petrol out of it. So there's a little bit left in the bottom, but it's mostly empty. Now, as this, just noticed this rubber thing had stuck to the bottom of the tank, so it goes on there. And this one, theoretically, should just slide straight on. Onto the rubber grommets at the front here. Might need a little bit of lubrication to get it to go on. Okay, that's on. So, got the rubber bit there, and this rubber bit. So, theoretically, this should bolt straight back on. Okay, that's looking good. So I'll connect up those pipes and then take it for a test ride, and then we're done. Okay, so the tank is back on and connected up. As it turns out, I had to change some of the hoses, the carby hoses, because they'd gone stiff as a board. But yes, it's on and the bike is running, so I'll just take it for a bit of a run, and then that'll be it for this this project. So I think you'll agree that it's looking pretty good. So I'm happy with the results.
1 hour later.
Okay, back from a ride, and it's all good, all going well. There's no leaks. It's still a fun bike to ride. I love this bike. And now it's looking slightly better than it did before. So you might think, well, the old tank wasn't that bad, but it was just one of those things that just kept bugging me, and I said to myself, look, if I can find a cheap enough tank, I'll do it. And as you guys probably know, I like a project. So yes, it was interesting to run through the whole process of getting it from this crappy old tank that I bought to what it is now, looking really good. So this will be the last in this series on the tank. I'm not sure what's next, but thanks for watching. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, or this series. If you like this sort of content, then maybe subscribe or let your mates know. And I will see you in whatever the next video series is. So thanks for watching Phil's Garage. Bye for now.